I'm Lauren with IndoorGardening.com, and today let's talk about plants that enjoy a colder home. Most indoor plants are actually tropical plants. They come from a warm, hot, and humid climate. Therefore, they're not going to survive in those cooler temperatures. But there are a lot of homes out there that just do not get that warm, or there's specific rooms that stay cold, or there are specific homes where it's a health hazard for the person living there for it to be so hot. So in order to accommodate those particular circumstances, we wanted to give a list of plants that can survive in a cooler environment for you. First up, we have ferns. There are lots of ferns out there, especially ones that grow in the Pacific Northwest, in particular Boston ferns. There's a lot of sword ferns out there. Even Kimberly ferns are really, really great for surviving in those cooler temperatures. You can also check out tree ferns. They even survive in snowy climates, so it works out really well. Astral gem ferns and maidenhair ferns are another one that grow up north for you that may work really well in this type of environment. A lot of these ferns will prefer to stay moist and humid, and they will prefer to stay within the temperatures of about 40 degrees to about 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So this is kind of the temperature room for you to play around in. If you have a particular cooler room or a cooler home, then one of these ferns might work out really, really well for you. Next up, we have cacti and succulents. A lot of deserts and dry areas get incredibly cold at night, making these type of plants very, very cold tolerant. Even though they come from a hot environment, it's a hot, dry environment, and it gets very, very cold without that extra humidity insulation at night. So they can handle these cooler temperatures really, really well, and a lot of them will overwinter or even be frost tolerant. Hens and chicks in particular, and the majority of cacti can handle those cooler temperatures. They're not necessarily going to be able to handle frost temperatures, but they can definitely handle cooler temperatures in your home. The only thing they ask of you is sunlight. They need a lot of light, these particular plants. So if you do have a cooler home, just make sure that you give them a lot of light in order for them to be able to process and still live. Next up, we have Norfolk Island pines. These types of trees, they don't need a lot of light, but they definitely need quite a bit of light. They can go down to 35 degrees in temperature or so. They do prefer a warmer climate if possible, but they can withstand the cooler temperatures. And if you keep them around 65 to 70 degrees, they'll definitely be thriving for you. They come from a small island down south. They are naturally tropical. They do prefer that higher humidity, but they are one of those plants that get very big, very majestic, and they can handle the cooler temperatures. Not a frost, but they can definitely handle the cooler temperatures in a cooler room for you. They do not have to have a super warm room like something along the lines of a calathea would have. They are definitely a very, very unique plant, one of the very few trees that can thrive indoors, and we definitely wanted to include that on this list for you. Next up, we have Pothos, also known as Epipremnum aureum. These leaves get big, bushy. They don't need a lot of light. They don't need a lot of attention. They can handle cooler temperatures. Again, these plants cannot handle a frost very well. They will lose foliage, but they have been known to make a comeback, and they will still grow in cooler temperatures despite being from a tropical climate. They are a very, very unique and very hardy plant. And if you have a room that is along the lines of 65 degrees, this plant will still be okay and it will still grow for you. Definitely make sure that you're giving it more light and less watering if you are keeping it in a cooler room though, to prevent rot. Next up, we have Draceana. Draceana come in a variety of forms. They can be snake plants, they can be Dracaena marginata, they can be lucky bamboo. These plants do not need a lot of attention, they do not need a lot of light, they just want to grow. If you give them warmth and humidity, they will grow more quickly. If you give them cooler and darker temperatures, then they will not grow as quickly. They can definitely withstand being in a cooler room though, and they will still continue to be alive and grow for you. Last up on our list is moss. Moss needs a high humidity environment. They do not necessarily need a lot of light, but they need more than no light. So do not take these and put them in just some dark area. Moss generally prefer a terrarium environment, but they can handle very, very cold, even frost-covered temperatures. So I definitely can't recommend this plant enough if you are trying to bring some green into a very cold room. If you have a room that you like to turn all of the heat off and it can get freezing temperatures in at night, this plant will be able to survive that for you. It will still be green, still be beautiful. It will not grow very quickly for you, so you won't need a lot of maintenance. You just need to place it in some type of a terrarium environment and place that in the room, and it will grow and stay green for you. It may need maintenance about every 6 months to a year, just a little bit of a trim, and then continue on your merry way. By far the easiest plant on our list. This is by no means an all-encompassing list. There is definitely a lot of cold, hardy plants out there that would do really, really well in a home. This is just a list to kind of get you started on that path. And if you live in a cooler temperature home and don't have the environment for a tropical plant, you can still bring these big, beautiful green babies into your home.
Make sure you check out indoorgardening.com while you wait for our next video. There's lots of information there for you. We're always happy to help.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!